Today I'm going to tell you about how to become a wedding invitation designer. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Hi, I'm Lainey of Design by Lainey. I'm a wedding invitation designer and I love teaching people how to become stationery designers and run successful, profitable businesses. I have a long course called From Start to Suite. It's over 10 hours on all the ins and outs that you'll need to start a successful stationery business. So I'll go over some of the main points today, but you can check out that longer course in the description of this video. All right, so you want to become a wedding invitation designer. That is so exciting. I'm so pumped for you. This journey is really fun and you get to work with just some of the most amazing people at the most amazing love-filled portions of their life, which is just so much fun. Plus you get to have a creative outlet. And then if you're a little bit, half left, half right brain, kind of like I am, there's a little bit of that logistics organizational side too. And you can really lean into either depending on where your skill set and your interests lie. So how do you really go about becoming an invitation designer? The first thing that you're going to want to do is research the etiquette and the invitation pieces and all of the etiquette that goes with this so that you can guide your clients through the process like a professional and you're not making any of those mistakes that make you look less like a professional. It's important to understand, who gets an invite, how to address them, how the wording should look for different types of events, etc., so that you really can garner the trust with your clients that you need to, and so that you look like you know what you're doing, even if this is your first client. I have a couple blog posts that I'll link in the description that go over some etiquette, as well as a few videos that cover some things as well. And then Emily Post, of course, is going to be the end-all, be-all resource for etiquette. That's kind of where we all get all of our information. And you'll find that these days, a lot of etiquette is being thrown out the window to some extent. So if we have a gay couple, for instance, then, you're not looking at that traditional putting the bride's family first, etc. Or if the couple is hosting their wedding instead of the parents, you're going to start with a different wording than you would traditionally. However, that doesn't mean that you don't need to know the etiquette. You need to understand the rules before you can break them, because certain things will suggest certain things about the couple just by putting the wording in specific ways. So you want to make sure you're not making any mistakes or suggesting something like if you put two people on the same line for an address, it suggests that they are romantically involved. So you don't want to put like a brother and sister on the same line because that's going to kind of lead to the wrong impression and might offend someone. You'll also want to research like the pieces of the suite and the wording that goes into those. I have a couple blog posts on this. The main thing here is you just don't want to do things that are going to look a little bit tacky. For instance, registry information is often not included on the invitation, and you don't want to confuse guests by not putting some information that might actually be helpful to them. Once you become familiar with the pieces of the suite, the wording, the etiquette that's involved, then the second step is learning your design programs. A lot of people talk about designing in Procreate or Canva, and while you completely can design something beautiful there, if you're serious about making this a business and you really want to be a professional about it, then I suggest learning the Adobe programs. Specifically, Illustrator and InDesign are the two programs that most stationery designers lean heavily on, and then a little bit with Photoshop just for editing watercolors and images and things like that for their invitation suites. The reason that I recommend learning Adobe programs, even though you absolutely can design beautiful stuff on other programs, is just that these are the industry standards. So if you ever ask a question in a Facebook group, or if your printer has an issue with a file, then those people are going to give you information for Adobe programs, because those are the programs that almost every stationery designer uses. So your printer may be able to open that file in Illustrator and fix something for you, or tell you how to fix something in Illustrator. But if you're like, oh, I designed this in Canva, how do I do that? They might not know the answer to that question, and none of the other stationery designers you work with may know the answer either, and it's just going to be a little bit harder to figure some of those things out. Also, you'll find that Adobe programs are significantly more robust than some of those free platforms, specifically Procreate, definitely. Canva is getting more robust, but it still doesn't have all the amazing features that Adobe does. I have more tutorials here on my channel for you if you want to check those out, but highly recommend investing in your Adobe programs. And my course will teach you how to use those, which ones you should use for what parts of invitation design, and really walk you through a lot of things within those programs. A lot of us are self-taught designers, so you can really dive into those things, but I think you'll move a little bit faster if you have some help from some tutorials. So check out things on my channel, take my courses, look around on YouTube, Skillshare, platforms like that will have, Adobe beginner tutorials that you can really follow to get accustomed to those programs. And then the third part, we're actually getting into the fun stuff, is to print some samples. It is an entire process. There's so much involved in getting the beautiful thing that you've designed on screen to look like that on paper. You can find so many different issues, mistakes, things that you didn't think about when you're taking something from the computer and getting it actually printed and produced on a larger scale. So I don't recommend waiting until you're working with your first clients to do this, because that's just asking for a ton of mistakes. Also, it's going to help you to have samples to get more familiar with printing, have some pictures that you can show to clients, and it'll just kind of make you feel more experienced and look more experienced from a marketing perspective. I'd recommend just starting with digital printing. It's going to be the most cost-effective print method, and a lot of places will allow you to print minimums like 10 or less. My favorite printer is Principal Fulfillment, which is a wholesale printer, and if you use my link, you get $25 off. I have a few other videos on my channel about prepping your files and that kind of thing if you want to check those out before you order your first prints. One of my favorite things to do at the beginning is free work for people on things like bridal showers, baby showers, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, etc. These are smaller orders, so it's not going to cost you a ton of money. It's not going to cost the client a ton of money. But you can do those where you donate your design time and then just charge them for the materials, and you'll get the experience of working with a client and learning how to design something with the input of another person who has their own vision, without the stress of it being like a fully paid wedding client. So if there is a printing error, or if there's something that goes a little bit weird or doesn't go exactly as planned, it's going to be okay, and you can do a reprint of 10 invitations as opposed to a reprint of 150 invitations with 15 pieces in them. So that's one of my favorite things to do at the beginning, is just offer some donated design time, have your client pay for the materials, and get used to designing, producing, and assembling a suite that has another person's input, because that's what it's going to be like when you actually start working with clients. All right, so after you've researched everything you need to know, after you've learned your Adobe programs, and after you've printed your samples, how do you actually start getting real paid big jobs? Just start putting your work out there. That's step 4. TikTok and Instagram are both very visual platforms that are a good place to start sharing your work. Just talk about the suite. Hey, I designed this, it has these flowers on it for this reason, I loved this couple's name, I used these fonts for this reason, and here's a video of me putting it together. Or just images on Instagram are really popular and a great way to just start getting a portfolio built up. This is another reason why you want to have samples, so that you can show them in real life. A lot of stationers get their clients from wedding planners. So if you start reaching out to some wedding planners in your area, you might be able to participate in a styled shoot, which is kind of a free marketing fake wedding, that you can get beautiful images of your work and make connections with a lot of vendors in the area. And then from there, they might find a client that's a good fit for you and bring you some real jobs. And then don't discount the power of your personal network. I got so much business and still get so much business just from people that I know that really want to support my business. It's up to you if you want to offer them discounts for any reason. I do that. You know, my mom gets free work. My best friend gets free design time but pays for materials. And then kind of everyone else, you know, I just feel it out based on if I feel like offering them some kind of friends and family discount. And in general, if you're going to discount something, it should be your time that you're donating and not the actual cost of the materials or the markup on that. But I absolutely don't recommend just doing work for free. If you're going to offer any kind of discount for friends and family, you know, it could be like 10%, 2 free hours, something like that. I'll often offer like a $100 gift card to my friends as a wedding present. If they want me to create any escort cards or things like that, they usually end up costing more than $100. So they're going to pay me some money, but they get a little bit free. And it doesn't cost me $100 to offer them a $100 discount, because it's usually just my time that I'm kind of donating there. So it might seem like I'm talking about a lot of like free and discounted work, and you might have to do a little bit of that at the beginning, but I don't recommend doing too much of that. It's just that once you start doing that work, once you start having the portfolio, building the connections, having more experience and putting it out there into the world, that's when the random strangers are going to start booking you and reaching out to you. So making sure that you have some of those physical samples you can take photos of, and that you've got the experience of printing your work and working kind of with a client's input. Those are going to be really valuable to you at the beginning, and make it so that when you start working with clients, it's not so much of a shock how to get this work printed, how to work with a client, how to do revisions and proofs and that kind of thing. So obviously this is just glossing over a lot of time and energy that you need to put into this. This business can be so rewarding and also so profitable, hundreds of thousands of dollars if you want it to be. But it's also going to take a little bit of work to build up. So definitely recommend getting started and understanding the process of the invitation design so that you are knowledgeable and so that you're continually practicing your skills. And then when clients start reaching out to you, you'll be able to handle their questions with ease, and you'll be able to handle those projects like a total pro. Now, I have a ton of other videos that will go deeper into some of those topics on my channel. Please stick around and watch a few of those. And if you're interested and serious about really becoming a stationery designer, highly recommend my course From Start to Suite. It's 10+ hours of content where I take you through the entire process of starting your business, learning design, learning production, etiquette and wording, assembly, printing, just everything that you'll need to know about designing your invitation suites and creating a business that works for you, as well as like pricing it right and understanding your margins and that kind of thing. Let me know what other questions you have about becoming a wedding invitation designer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you'll stick around and watch some of my others while you're here. Thanks, everybody.